The internet didn't just buzz, it panicked. Overnight, Tamar Braxton's name detonated across every platform at once, not because of a song, not because of a show, but because something far more dangerous took hold, a medical rumor nobody could control. No confirmation. No statement. Just fragments. Screenshots. Whispers passed like contraband. And at the center of it all, a woman caught between shock, fear, and a world that decided it was entitled to answers she never agreed to give. It started with a silence that felt wrong. Too long. Too sudden. Then came the footage, shaky, invasive, zoomed too close, Tamar visibly shaken outside a medical building, her face unreadable, her body language screaming distress. That was all it took. One clip. One moment. The internet filled in the rest with cruelty disguised as curiosity. Within hours, blogs hinted. Commentators implied. Sources spoke without names. Doctors were referenced without records. And before the sun came up, a narrative had formed that Tamar herself never spoke aloud, yet somehow had to carry. Fans cried. Trolls sharpened knives. Even celebrities reacted without saying her name, posting cryptic warnings about privacy, stigma, and lines that should never be crossed. Then came the breakdown, not on camera, not for clicks, but quietly, devastatingly, as Tamar retreated while the noise got louder. Because when rumors involve health, there's no undo button. There's only damage. And the most terrifying part. This story didn't explode by accident. Someone lit the match. The question is, who and why now? The nightmare didn't begin with a headline. It began with absence, the kind that rattles people who are used to constant visibility. Tamar Braxton went quiet, and in a culture where silence is interpreted as strategy, fear, or collapse, that quiet sounded like an alarm. No posts. No replies. No late-night stories that usually appeared like clockwork. For 12 hours, her digital footprint froze while her name crept higher on trending lists, climbing not with excitement, but with dread. Fans felt it before they understood it. Something was wrong. Something heavy. Something nobody had prepared for. Then the footage surfaced. Grainy. Shaky. Shot from across the street like a mistake that didn't feel accidental. Tamar exiting a medical building that insiders immediately claimed wasn't just any clinic. No glam. No handler. No shield. Sunglasses slightly crooked. Shoulders pulled inward like gravity had doubled. When someone off camera said her name, she flinched, not dramatically, not performatively, just enough to tell the truth her mouth didn't. That flinch did more damage than any rumor ever could. The clip detonated. Twitter fractured into factions within minutes. TikTok creators slowed the video frame by frame, analyzing her posture, her gait, the way she avoided eye contact. Instagram comments flooded with prayers and panic in equal measure. Was this exhaustion? Stress? A private medical matter that should never have been filmed? Or was it something more serious that had been hiding in plain sight? The lack of answers didn't slow the speculation. It weaponized it. That's when the insiders appeared. They always do. Anonymous accounts claimed knowledge they couldn't prove. Weeks, one wrote, then deleted. Another hinted at tests and results without naming anything, carefully implying everything while committing to nothing. Screenshots followed, cropped DMs with timestamps conveniently missing, language just vague enough to feel intentional. Each leak contradicted the last, but together they built a story of a woman blindsided by information she never consented to becoming public. The first real crack came from inside Tamar's circle. A like appeared, then vanished, under a comment referencing betrayal. Screenshots spread faster than apologies ever could. Suddenly, people weren't just asking what happened. They were asking who leaked it. Old footage resurfaced with new meaning. Tamar coughing during an interview, Tamar snapping when asked if she was okay, Tamar changing the subject mid-sentence. The internet loves a retroactive narrative, and this one wrote itself in real time. Behind the scenes, alleged group chats began circulating, arguments about trust, about who talked to whom, about whether something said privately had been repeated carelessly to the wrong person. The screenshots were unverified, but they felt real enough to hurt. And hurt travels faster than truth. Celebrities started reacting without reacting. Vague captions, cryptic quotes, words like health, privacy, and lines floated across timelines without context. An RB legend posted a prayer emoji, then deleted it. A reality star tweeted, "You don't know half of what people are carrying," then locked comments. That single move, comments off, sent fans spiraling. What kind of situation triggers legal caution before facts? More unsettling than the reactions was the silence from Tamar's family. No denials. No fiery defenses. No public rallying. For a family famous for saying everything, the quiet felt unnatural, strategic, or forced. Fans noticed unfollows happening quietly in the background. 2 longtime friends disappeared from Tamar's following list overnight. One went private within minutes. Instead of calming the storm, it poured gasoline on it. Then Tamar spoke, barely. One Instagram story. Black screen. White text. No music. No filters. A single sentence that read less like a statement and more like a wound, as if something deeply personal had been ripped away before she could protect it. The story vanished seconds later, but it didn't matter. Screen recordings were already everywhere. Reaction videos multiplied by the minute. TikTok creators claimed timelines. Real or fake, it spread because it sounded possible, and possible is all the internet needs. As hours passed, concern curdled into chaos. Fans turned on each other. Some accused others of being invasive. Others demanded transparency, arguing that public figures owe the public clarity. Comment sections became battlegrounds where empathy and entitlement collided. And through it all, Tamar stayed silent. No names. No details. Just that unanswered sentence hanging like a storm cloud. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Tamar. It was about everyone connected to her. Friends. Collaborators. Anyone who might have known something or said something carelessly. Because whatever Tamar walked out of that building carrying wasn't just emotional, it was information. And someone else clearly had it too. By mid-morning, the narrative mutated again. Anonymous accounts claimed Tamar's team was scrambling behind the scenes, calling platforms, requesting removals, preparing legal language. A viral tweet alleged cease and desist letters were drafted and waiting, depending on who spoke next. The idea that lawyers were hovering convinced people there was something massive at stake. Fear thrives on that assumption. Then came the second betrayal. A leaked voice note hit Twitter. Distorted. Recorded off another phone. No names mentioned. No conditions stated. Just a sentence that implied knowledge no outsider should have had. The clip spread like poison. Some said it was fake. Others swore they recognized the voice. Amateur audio analysts appeared overnight, comparing pitch and cadence to old interviews. TikTok turned into a digital courtroom, creators presenting evidence like prosecutors chasing virality. Truth became optional. Spectacle became the point. As the noise grew, consequences followed. Tamar's name quietly disappeared from 2 upcoming appearances. No announcements. No explanation. As night approached, a new anonymous account appeared. No photo. Created that day. One tweet only. She's not the only one affected by this. No hashtags. No explanation. Gone in 10 minutes. 10 minutes was enough. Enough to suggest others were involved. Enough to imply a wider blast radius. Enough to make everyone wonder whether this was spiraling out of control, or being pushed there by someone who wanted it to explode. And as the internet refreshed endlessly, waiting for the next shoe to drop, one terrifying realization settled in. Whatever Tamar was dealing with privately had become a public battlefield, and someone was determined to win it at any cost. The moment the rumors reached critical mass, everything around Tamar shifted from chaos to containment. Not silence, containment. The kind that doesn't come from peace, but from panic behind closed doors. Phones started ringing at odd hours. Assistants stopped answering texts. Longtime collaborators suddenly couldn't comment. And in the middle of it all was Tamar, reportedly locked inside a reality she never agreed to share, watching strangers argue over pieces of her life like they were entitled to answers she hadn't even given herself yet. Behind the scenes, insiders say the atmosphere turned radioactive. Emergency meetings were called with no agendas, just instructions. Say nothing. Post nothing. Delete anything that can be misread. One source described it as a full media lockdown, the kind reserved for situations where the truth, whatever it is, could destroy more than one career if mishandled. The irony. The harder the machine tried to suppress the noise, the louder the speculation became. Fans noticed interviews quietly cancelled. A brand partnership vanished from a website overnight. A radio appearance was replaced with scheduling conflicts. Nothing was explained, and that vacuum became a weapon. Then came the alleged leaks. Not documents, not proof, something more dangerous. Voice notes. Short, panicked audio clips that appeared in private group chats before spilling into the public. In one, a woman who sounded close, exhausted, and furious said, "This was never supposed to leave that room." The clip cut off abruptly, but it was enough. Enough for TikTok analysts to dissect the tone. Enough for Twitter to decide it was real. Enough for fans to believe someone betrayed Tamar at the worst possible moment. What made it worse was timing. These whispers didn't surface randomly. They aligned with a series of strange, overlooked moments from the past year. Clips resurfaced of Tamar dodging personal questions with forced humor. An interview where she snapped, then immediately apologized, eyes glassy, voice tight. A red carpet moment where she froze mid-step as someone whispered in her ear, then smiled through it like nothing happened. At the time, people called it stress. Now, they were calling it foreshadowing. And then the reactions started, careful, coded, impossible to ignore. A fellow singer posted a vague message about praying for strength when the world won't stop watching. Another celebrity wrote, "Not everything is entertainment," then turned comments off. A reality TV alum tweeted, deleted, then reposted, "Your would crumble if your worst day went viral." Each post felt like a breadcrumb, and fans followed every single one. Meanwhile, Tamar remained silent, and that silence became the loudest part of the story. No denial. No clarification. No tearful video asking for privacy. In the internet's ruthless logic, that wasn't restraint, it was confirmation. The narrative hardened. People stopped asking if something serious had happened and started asking who caused it to leak. Names were floated recklessly. Former friends were dragged into threads. Anyone who'd ever fallen out with Tamar was suddenly suspect. That's when the alleged betrayal angle exploded. A screenshot circulated, supposedly from a private text exchange, showing someone close saying, "She trusted the wrong person." The timestamp was blurred. The names were cropped. But the damage was surgical. Fans latched onto the idea that Tamar wasn't just dealing with a personal crisis. She was dealing with someone who broke her trust at the worst possible time. And once that idea took hold, the internet turned from spectators into prosecutors. As pressure mounted, industry insiders began whispering about legal implications. Not about the rumors themselves, but about how they spread. Privacy violations. Breach of confidence. Conversations that should never have left medical rooms allegedly ending up in DMs and group chats. One entertainment lawyer went on record, without naming names, saying, if private health-related information was leaked without consent, that's not gossip. That's a serious legal issue. That single statement reframed everything. Suddenly, this wasn't just messy, it was dangerous. Then the family dynamics came under a microscope. For a family known for speaking openly, the collective quiet was unsettling. No unified statement. No emotional defense. Just fragments. A sister posting a broken heart emoji, then deleting it. A cousin liking a comment about betrayal, then claiming it was accidental. Each small action was treated like a confession. Fans split into camps, those demanding answers and those begging the internet to back off. The comment sections became battlegrounds where empathy and entitlement collided head-on. Late one evening, things took an even darker turn. An anonymous account appeared, posting calmly, almost clinically. You're focused on the wrong question, it read. Ask who benefits from the confusion. No hashtags. No follow-up. The account disappeared within minutes, but the message lingered. Who did benefit? Blogs were gaining traffic. Reaction channels were exploding. Old rivals were suddenly relevant again. And Tamar. She was nowhere to be found, reportedly not in a good space, cycling between anger and shutdown, according to someone claiming to be close. As the night wore on, platforms began quietly intervening. Certain keywords stopped trending. Videos were flagged and removed. Lives were cut mid-sentence. It felt coordinated, like someone had finally stepped in and drawn a line. But lines on the internet only make people lean in closer. Fans screenshot everything. Archives popped up. Private discords filled with theories, timelines, and alleged receipts. By morning, the story had evolved again. It was no longer just about what Tamar might be facing. It was about who tried to control the narrative and failed. People noticed which media outlets avoided the topic entirely, and which leaned into coded language. They noticed which celebrities unfollowed whom. They noticed Tamar quietly archiving years of posts, wiping her bio clean, removing herself piece by piece from the digital world that was devouring her. That digital retreat felt final, like someone pulling the curtains closed after realizing the audience wouldn't stop staring. Support poured in, but so did cruelty. Trolls crossed lines. Moderators struggled to keep up. Entire threads vanished and reappeared elsewhere. The story refused to die because no one at the center would, or could, finish it. And just when it seemed like the storm might burn itself out, a respected commentator known for sitting on information until it was airtight went live unexpectedly. No intro. No hype. Just one sentence before ending the stream: there's more to this, and it's not what people think. That was it. 10 seconds. The clip went viral anyway. Fear replaced curiosity. If people with credibility were backing away, it suggested stakes far higher than gossip. By the end of the day, one truth had settled in. Whatever Tamar was dealing with, it wasn't just personal. It had become a battlefield of control, leaks, silence, and power. Someone talked when they shouldn't have. Someone stayed quiet when they were expected to defend her. And behind the scenes, the industry tightened ranks. According to multiple sources, legal teams began making calls, not to deny anything, but to warn. The message was simple and chilling: stop repeating unverified claims, or prepare to deal with consequences. Bloggers who had teased more to come suddenly went silent. A major gossip site quietly edited its headline, removing a single loaded word. That edit spoke louder than any article ever could. And then came the reframing. A respected journalist published a long, careful piece about the cost of rumor culture. No names. No accusations. Just a methodical breakdown of how speculation, once unleashed, becomes impossible to control, and how real people get crushed in the process. The article didn't defend Tamar explicitly. It didn't need to. The implication was clear. What had happened wasn't reporting. It was a feeding frenzy. For the first time, public sentiment wavered. Fans who had demanded answers began questioning themselves. Comment sections shifted from "tell us the truth" to "this has gone too far." Others doubled down, furious at the suggestion that they were wrong. The divide hardened. Empathy versus entitlement. Privacy versus access. Then Tamar finally moved, not with words, but with presence. She didn't post a video. She didn't release a statement. She appeared quietly at a private, closed-door event days later. No press. No red carpet. Just a single photo captured from a distance. She looked thinner. Exhausted. But upright. And that image hit harder than any rumor ever could. No collapse. No confession. No confirmation of anything the internet had decided was true. Just a woman still standing. That single image forced a reckoning. If the narrative everyone had accepted was real, why didn't reality match the fantasy? Why was there no dramatic reveal, no follow-up bombshell, no confirmation from anyone with credibility? Why did the loudest voices suddenly have nothing new to say? Because the truth, whatever it was, had never belonged to the internet in the first place. Sources close to Tamar began leaking a different story. Not details, not secrets, but emotion. Anger. Betrayal. A sense of violation. According to them, Tamar wasn't devastated by rumors alone. She was devastated by who let them grow. People she trusted. People who didn't shut it down when they could have. People who watched the fire spread and said nothing. That revelation reframed everything. This wasn't about what was alleged. It was about how quickly the world turned suspicion into spectacle. How a woman's silence was treated as a public resource. How empathy vanished the moment mystery appeared. One final anonymous post surfaced before disappearing for good. It read, "Some of you will never apologize, because admitting you were wrong would mean admitting you hurt someone for entertainment." No threat. No tease. Just a mirror. After that, the story didn't explode again. It collapsed inward. Engagement dropped. The creators moved on. New scandals took its place. But something had shifted permanently. Tamar's name no longer trended the same way. The laughter was gone. The certainty evaporated. What remained was discomfort. Because deep down, everyone knew the same thing. They never actually knew anything at all. And Tamar never owed them proof of survival. She owed herself peace. The silence that followed wasn't defeat. It was boundaries. It was reclaimed. And for the first time since the chaos began, the story stopped chasing her. But the lesson lingered. In an era where rumors move faster than facts, where speculation is monetized, and where silence is treated like guilt, the real danger isn't what's true or false. It's how quickly humanity gets lost in the noise. Before you scroll, before the noise pulls you to the next headline, understand this: missing what happens next isn't just missing drama. It's missing the moment where truth either surfaces or gets buried forever. Stories like this don't end when the posts stop trending. They end when people stop paying attention. And that's exactly what powerful silence depends on. If you've watched this unfold with confusion, anger, protectiveness, or even guilt, that reaction matters. Algorithms decide what survives. Engagement decides what gets erased. And right now, this story is standing at that edge. If you believe private pain shouldn't become a public sport, hit like so this conversation doesn't disappear quietly. If you want to be here when the next crack in the silence appears, because it always does, subscribe now. Not later. Now. Because by the time everyone else catches up, the narrative will already be rewritten. Drop a comment. Not a rumor. Not an accusation. Your perspective. What felt off? What crossed the line? What question still hasn't been answered? These comment sections aren't just reactions, they're records. And records matter when history gets revised. Don't underestimate your role. Engagement isn't just support, it's pressure. It's proof that people are watching, thinking, and refusing to let messy speculation replace accountability. Stay here. Stay alert. Stay critical. Because the most important part of stories like this is never the headline, it's what comes after the silence breaks. And when it does, you'll want to say you were paying attention.